Oh, we're live. We're live. We don't have a producer because Josh is at a live event in Washington, D.C. So dead legs out with all the other light guys doing police light stuff in D.C. I saw the picture of you guys all at the dinner. A couple of fans out there. Makes me feel good. It's good to see you. Speaking of which, we do have a live coming up in Florida. I just got news on it as I was coming on. So it's a bar that's going to be hosting us. It looks like it's going to be in Kissimmee for the police week, for police training week down there at Disney, in the Disney area. So anyway, I'll give you some more on that, but we got a big show today, guys. RFK Jr. calling the biggest threat to democracy, Joe Biden. What? Lizzo declares that she's quitting social media, but she's not. And it's not an April Fool's joke either. She really put out a very cryptic message that I was enraged by. And we'll get to it in just a few minutes. Also, the Biden fundraiser that kind of coincided with the NYPD officer's funeral completely, I don't want to say blew up in his face because that sounds terroristy, but it backfired. Let's say that. It was a publicity nightmare. That's a better way to put it. We're going to break all this down. Plus, we have this very bizarre eclipse that everybody's losing their minds about, but I feel like I've lived through 3 or 4 of these things. I think conservative Anthony and I are the same age. Keith might be a little older. Going to pick their brains on, have they ever seen anything like this when it comes to an eclipse like this? And what does it mean? Plus, we have some crazy earthquakes going around the world. We're going to dive into a lot of all this and more on today's Last Call Political News Wednesday here on the Failure Stop Podcast channel, where we bring you 5 separate shows a week to keep first responders informed and entertained while they're doing the Lord's work. Society and culture news on Monday, true crime on Tuesday, political news Wednesday, sports on Thursday, big case breakdowns on Friday. Plus, we have other shows on the network like Anti-Hero Podcast, Getting a Grip on Things, Night Shift, Top Secret Information. Today's show brought to you by ghostbed.com/Wolfpack, factormeals.com/Wolfpack50. And then we also have the Wellness Company. Without further ado, and I have to do this by myself, let's take it away.
The growing calls across the nation to defund the police.
To end policing as we know it.
Off the charts violence in New York City. 11 people shot in just 8 hours on
This is
Sunday.
about the police officers who every single day put on that uniform and they run towards danger when we run away from it.
Well, I got to go live Monday night with 2 cops, 1 donut. Frankie Friday, who's one of my favorite and the funniest cops, I think, on the planet. Got a show coming up with him. We had 32,000 people in the lives on that show. And a lot of the live chatters, though, were almost all Failure to Stop fans. So there was 32,000 people watching, but the chats were nothing loaded up but with Failure to Stop fans, which made me happy. It made me look really cool in front of my other cool friends. So thank you, Wolfpack, for going hard in the paint. This is a live show on YouTube's. I have a storm running through here right now that is nothing short of a spring monsoon. So if I lose connectivity, I apologize. But Diesel Tech, Bosco Autry's in the chats, David J, Loren, Adam Corsair, Tyler S. The list goes down. Looks like Will Cray, David J. Thank you guys so much for being in the live chats today. It's going to be an action-packed show. Without further ado, and I've said that twice today, actually, so I feel weird. Let me first bring up conservative Anthony, political commentator, hilarious social media influencer, friend of the Trump family, officially, we can say that. He's with us. And then we have Fire Chief, host on our Thursday sports show and the host of One More and I'm Out of Here podcast from Cincinnati, Ohio, Jason Kiefer. I guess I'd have to unmute you guys to talk. Thank you so much for joining us today on The Last Call. Anthony, this is right up your alley. This has kind of been one of your staple shows for the week. We love having you, but you were gone for 2 weeks. But the first week you were gone was because you were literally with the Trump family. We can't be mad at you for that.
Yeah, sorry. It would have been a little tough.
Would have been tough. And then, well, I would like to say that we're more important than Trump, but I get it. Like, I see where you had to choose there. You know what I mean? I know it was hard for you. I suspect you lost a lot of sleep that night saying, man, should I, who's more important? Who's like, what's going to be better for my career and my life as a political commentator? Last Call Wednesday, or like hanging out with the Trump family all day and then going to a gala and all these things at night. Like, I know it must have been tough.
I mean, the goal would be to do a live show from Mar-a-Lago one day. Like, that would be the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
So this was definitely like a networking situation, right?
So it was basically like you were working, really.
Yeah.
Networking is working.
Business trip.
Yeah,
You also have the new Anthony line out, which I love, the Tropical Patriot line, Florida line this month. Head over to, was it Patriot Gear?
Yes, official Patriot Gear. It's in my link tree as well. Use code ANT as always. We have a new Ant drop every month. Once they go, they are gone. So
Going. And then we have Jason Kiefer down there in his new studio. Keith, it looks nice back there. I like it. I like the setup, my friend.
We're getting there. I added a little piece behind me that my brother gave me. Little OJ Simpson action with the real quick story, Eric. The guy that took this picture, we had him on our podcast. My brother's friends with him. He actually testified in the case with this picture. He sat on the stand for 3 days because the Juice is wearing the gloves and the Bruno Malley shoes in this picture. And then right here is his actual subpoena that's inlaid in this picture.
No way. That is an epic picture. I'm so glad you brought that up to story time because yes, that is totally worth it. I zoomed you in for the YouTubers out there. You can see it. He's actually wearing the gloves that he murdered Nicole Simpson in. What?
Yeah.
Wow. That is, I feel like that just made the whole show, to be honest with you.
Bill Rankin sat on that stand for 3 days getting drilled by Marshall Clark. So
God bless. Well, we have a crazy show. What's that?
It's a kind of a neat piece.
It is a very neat piece, a very iconic piece. Like I'm jealous. I need to get my Casey Anthony picture in here signed by Casey Anthony is what I need to do. Let's jump into today's news. By the way, we do have this pending solar eclipse coming, and it's not from Lizzo. Lizzo didn't cause this eclipse, although I feel like she could cause an eclipse. She didn't cause this eclipse. But there's some strange things happening. 5 days ago, Canada had a record number seismic related activity in the ocean records. It's upwards of over 1,000 small earthquakes. They suggested in this article 5 days ago that the crust is dismantling beneath the ocean floor about 150 miles off the coast of Canada. Very strange. They don't think it has anything to do like globally. It just has to do with these small, weird, almost like geyser-like earthquake things. I'm not a scientist. I read this article 5 days ago and I didn't talk about it on any of the other shows because I just kind of figured like, well, it's just, that is weird. That's odd, but like, I don't know. What does it really mean? I'm not a scientist. And but they said that nothing was going to be bigger than a category like 5 or whatever category, however you categorize earthquakes. Now, last night before I went to sleep on Twitter, a 7-point something earthquake hits, what was it, Taiwan?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I was watching the videos of these buildings just crumpling over. Also, Taiwan had a record number of Chinese aircraft fly over in formation hours before the earthquake. And that was trending. And then this earthquake happens. Now, I'm not saying that China caused an earthquake, even though was it 60 Minutes this week, put out an entire piece on Russian ray guns that can burn holes in your brains. Now, wait a minute. You're like, Tansy, you're really red-pilled. You're crazy. What are you talking about? I encourage you to go back and listen to 60 Minutes this week. They literally did an entire article on the Russians, not as a conspiracy, but as a fact that they are using ultrasonic, some kind of like radio guns to manipulate minds and burn holes and drive people crazy with these guns. But remember, this is the same 60 Minutes that's telling you that this is fact. But if you question a barge hitting a bridge and it collapses into the ocean, you're the crazy person.
You're the crazy one. That's right.
So I find it odd, and I don't know what you guys think. Oh, so by the way, you have lived through other solar eclipses, as I have, because we're all about the same age. Have you ever seen a solar eclipse that's getting this much attention, and why do you think it's getting this much attention?
I remember 2017's, and I mean, it was a big hoopla. Make sure you get your glasses, do all these things. But yeah, this one definitely seems to be getting more. And they're saying it the way that the 2017 one tracked and the way this one's tracking, it's making an X somewhere over Illinois, and they're putting it into biblical, a biblical stance. And I'm not a religious guy. I don't follow the Bible. I've never read the Bible, but this whole hysteria is creating, and especially up here in Cincinnati, we're close to totality. Probably 2 hours away it would be 4 minutes and 15 seconds worth of complete darkness. So it's really hitting here.
It's strange that they're also firing rockets into this thing to study the shadow of it, which makes no sense. But they're also sending out high altitude aircraft to monitor the sun. Very strange. Also, there's weather balloons that they're sending up. They've enacted the National Guard in several states. A guy reached out to me, and I have to be careful here because he was really nervous that he was going to get in trouble. He says he doesn't know if he would get in trouble or not. He doesn't know. He wasn't told not to say anything. It's not classified information. And by the way, I've received tons of classified information in my life. Typically you go to like a skiff, they black out the windows and they search you, pat you down, make sure you don't have anything in there. They give you the classified information. They tell you what you can and can't do with it. You sign your little agreement, and then you're done with. So when something is classified to a certain level, So he didn't receive any of this, but he still wanted to tread lightly. He's with a military intelligence based unit. So it's not called military intelligence, but that's what they do, is they work with military intelligence, and they have been called up to the middle of the country. And they have been basically dispatched to the area. They've been called up. I don't know. I won't say deployed. I always like to say deployed for like overseas, but maybe you could say deployed. He's not clear what the mission is and what they're doing, but they are taking all of their intel computers and hard drives and everything with them, which is very strange. And he says he doesn't know. I haven't heard from him since. This was about 8 days ago. So if you're in the National Guard and you're getting called up to this thing and you want to reach out to me, maybe you're just an infantry guy, or maybe you're an artillery man or military police, and they're not going to give you classified information anyway, maybe you could give us a call or a buzz and let us know kind of like what's going on. Not because there's a security threat, but I've never heard that the National Guard being called up for an eclipse. Have you, Anthony?
No. I want to touch on the biblical stance because I'm tired of hearing this. I've been hearing this since the Mayans and all that bullshit back when, remember back in the day, the Mayan calendar was ending, and then this is another biblical thing, and now the cicadas are coming back this year in full force, and it's all biblical. But listen, if it's gonna happen, let it just fucking rock already. I'm like, I'm tired of the buildup. I'm tired of the build up, and then nothing pops off. It's like premature ejaculation all the time. So it's funny because we saw how little it took for people to run out and buy toilet paper as if they were wiping their ass differently. So this is just another thing to add to everything, to defer from the fact that Joe Biden is the worst president on the face of the planet that it has ever existed in our entire fucking lives. And they know that they can manipulate the mass population. They've done it with COVID. They did it with everything else over the last however many years. So I think it's all bullshit. I'm gonna I have actually an appointment that day. Yeah. Rocket thing, I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me.
No, I mean, it goes back to me though for Project Bluebeam. You know, I'm a big conspiracy theorist guy. I love to read about them. Don't necessarily believe them, but boy, if something like Project Bluebeam is to occur on the 8th, like I'll be like, I told you so. I fucking told you so. Ant and I did a whole show on Project Bluebeam. We knew it. Like, that's fake. That's not an alien. Like, suck it, alien. Like, I'll be like mooning it and doing all the things because I'll know it's fake. I'll know this is the Bluebeam moment, which is why they say maybe it's the more you know. But speaking of religion and politics, very weird take this week for the Biden administration. Now, I listened to a very left-leaning, left-wing newscast called Breaking Points with Crystal and Sagar. I'll say that the voices of Crystal definitely annoy me at times. That's mean. That's mean of me to say that, but I'll say Tim Pool's voice kind of annoys me at times, as I'm sure my voice annoys you people sometimes. Doesn't mean that what they're saying isn't true or doesn't have some sort of merit to it. I like to get their perspective on things because they come at it from a very liberal leftist point of view. And I think that's important, especially if you're going to do political commentary, that you know what the other side's talking about. I think Crystal and Sagar do an amazing job. They're much like ESPN, right? You kind of know which team they're rooting for, but they give you a very fair spread. They give you a very fair analysis on both teams and what they're up against so that you can make maybe the best bet or the best vote on the outcome of that. So with that being said, they were talking adamantly about what a disaster this week has been for the Biden administration and for a left-leaning podcast that's not necessarily or at all pro-Trump. They are not pro-Trump at all. To hear them go so hard in the paint of what a disaster week this has been for Joe Biden really, really paints a very broad picture of what this election is going to turn out to look like unless the left does something dramatic and drastic. I don't know, maybe like a Project Bluebeam style event or some kind of World War III style event, which, by the way, we're get to that because breaking news, Israel launched rockets allegedly into an Iran and Syria overnight, Russia piping off about that. So, you know, that's pretty scary. But what happened with the Biden administration this week went over and beyond. I want to break it down. The first thing that happened was, well, let's just go with the second thing that happened. And then we'll go to the first thing. The second thing that happened, which almost overshadowed how bad the first thing was, so it didn't help them out at all, was this trans day of vigilance. Is that, what are we calling it now?
Visibility. It's
visibility.
So fucking annoying.
So they put this out on Easter Sunday, and the left is calling anybody from the right that's saying what I just said, that they've brought this out on Easter, is hyperbolic, or they are, you know, as Karine Jean-Luc Picard, Pierre from Starfleet 7 says, that it is misinformation. Now, Easter, I believe, was on March 31st last year. It was on March 31st this year. Was it not? Was Easter 2022 not March 31st?
I don't know if it was March 31st last year. I know it changes. Obviously, it changes depending on when. It was. Go ahead.
Oh no, it was on Sunday, April 9th. Boy, am I embarrassed.
Right, because the Trans Visibility Day was set in place in 2009. Okay, so that part is true. The fact that this will fall on the same day as Easter won't happen for a very long time again. But here's what's so interesting about this situation. Why, if this was something that has always been on the same day, why didn't you talk about it last year, the year before that, and the year before, but all the way starting at 2009?
Right, correct.
Why did you make it a point to do it this year when it fell on Easter Sunday, which is one of the biggest Christian and Catholic holidays? I know for a fact, coming from somebody who is a gay man, I know for a fact the reason why this administration does the shit that they do is to purposely undivide the country. They are not the administration of unity whatsoever. When you do things like this specifically, you are using a community as political pawns. You're using them to as a weapon against everybody else. And what they did by doing this was they made, because I think it's over 65% of the country is Christian or Catholic and celebrates Easter. What they did was they made that whole 65% of the country that might have been okay with gay people or whatever, not giving a shit, kind of fucking be annoyed with it. And they're like, okay, now I've had enough. Like, y'all are fucking annoying. And just to not talk the whole time, I have gotten several messages from left-leaning and right-leaning content creators, trans men and women, gay people that are like, why are they doing this to us? We don't even want this. Like, we don't want the visibility of anything. We just want to be left alone.
Well, and it's amazing. It's amazing what 7 months before an election that they are petrified that they're going to lose, trying to unify, but yet what they're doing is actually dividing. But they're weaponizing that whole, and you used it, using it pawns and using as weapons. They've weaponized it to get everybody pissed off. They didn't realize it, but that's how dumb they are. Is they didn't realize that was going to happen.
No, they knew.
Well, and to your point though, why didn't they talk about it in the years prior?
Yeah, I mean, I've never heard of a transgender day of vigilance. Also, the UK changed their flag for the weekend and added another triangle to it. I mean, I don't know. I doubt very seriously, Ant, that you are familiar with the pride flags and what they mean, but maybe you do. Do you have any idea what the newest triangle edition is?
I have no. My only flag is the American flag. I have no idea. So
and I kind of figured that, but I thought I would ask. I mean, Kiefer, I doubt you know as well. Do you know what the second triangle is? If we had Josh here, he would already be on this for us. This show's completely different when we don't have a fact checker, which is why we pay Josh to be a fact checker, because you see how much he's needed, right? Like you see, like people don't notice. They kind of take Josh for granted. You consumers out there listening, you take him for granted. You know, he's important. Just because he has a dead leg and he's in a wheelchair and he's only 3/4 of a human being, he still means he still has his place. I thought this was interesting coming out of the Transgender Day of Vigilance. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but when he was asked about it, his response, so this is coming from Fox News. And again, I don't pull from Fox News very often. But in this case, this was a Fox News reporter. So in an exchange with reporters at the annual White House Easter egg roll, Biden declined responsibility for the proclamation when asked about House Speaker Mike Johnson's criticisms of the action. Over the weekend, Johnson wrote in a post on X that the White House betrayed the central tenet of Easter, adding that the proclamation was outrageous and apparent. Biden responded with that he was thoroughly uninformed about all of this and, quote, I didn't do that, in reference to signing this whole thing, because that was what was posted all over the internet, that he signed a declaration that today is the official trans day.
It happened in 2009.
Right, but he says he didn't do that. He's thoroughly uninformed. If he's thoroughly uninformed and he didn't do that, then who did do it?
Well, somebody is running. So I don't believe that he didn't know. I believe that he knew exactly what he was doing. But Jean Paul Gaultier, whatever the fuck her name is, she runs his socials. She runs. She has to run his Twitter.
Got you.
And so here's my thing, as a Catholic, okay, you on the day of Easter, when the Lord is risen, you go onto a social media platform or publicly go public and give homage to Trans Visibility Day before you bless Americans on Holy Day. And then not only that, you ban all religious paraphernalia from the Easter egg roll, which was not even held on Easter this year, was held the day after, which opened up with lightning and thunder. 2 hours they had to delay it because of lightning strikes and thunder. I wonder who could have been pissed off about that. I don't know. Maybe the Lord, because you fucking destroyed the day. Like,
Mike W in the chats. I'm not familiar with Mike W, but he says Biden has signed this proclamation every year starting in 2021. Again, I don't know, Mike. I don't know if he's pulling this out of his ass or not, but it's if you're sitting in your cop car, your meat wagon, your first responder mobile, and you want to Google it, go for it. If we had our fact checker here, he would have fact checked this for us and let us know. Again, just want to pinpoint how important Josh is to the Wolfpack. And then also shame him for not being here. Huh?
he paid you to say this? That's like the sixth
No, I'm
time.
blaming him because he hasn't been here in like 2 weeks because of this trip. Actually, he was here last week, but he was only like halfway here because he was planning for this trip. And I just want to let him know that like whenever he's not here, it's really hard to do the show when he's not here. And that's why I appreciate him, which I should probably ease it on that because then he's going to ask for more money. He's like, well, if I'm so important, pay me more, bitch. And then the joke is all going to be on me. But I 100% agree with the whole way that they dealt with this trans day. I thought it was very it wasn't very sincere. It was very tone deaf. I think if the right would have done something like this, like in the midst of Black History Month, and here's another thing, I'm kind of feeling like maybe this is the homophobia in me that I've been accused of having, even though I'm obviously not scared of gays. I've slept amongst the gays, if you will. I've broke bread with the gays. So I'm not sure that I'm phobic about it, but I'm sure I'm going to catch some homophobic vibes for saying this. I feel like maybe the gays community, the LGBTQ plus community, are we getting days like every month now? Because
there's like 128 days or some fucking.
I'm not crazy,
weird.
right? Does it not feel like there's like a whole bunch of different gay days going on every month?
You're 100% correct.
Oh, thank you, God. I just didn't want to be homophobic again. This is getting a lot of control. And I think again, too, it's like, what's the point of the divisiveness here? Because, as somebody who loves and appreciates everyone from every walk of life, I like gays, I like Muslims, I like Jews. I guess I don't like state troopers that much, but, I'm tolerant, I guess you could say. It makes you not want to accept or like somebody because it paints them to be very crazy. When you have it forced down your throat like this, it makes you aggravated. It makes you say things like, God, not another gay day. It's almost like if you had St. Patrick's Day drunken festivities every month, I would begin to just be like, can we just move on from the Irish shit? Like, I don't want to be Irish every day. That sounds stupid. Like my liver hurts. We should cut this shit out. Same with Cinco de Mayo. If you were doing Cinco de Mayo related activities every month, I would be tired of the Mexicans. So I feel like this whole, every day is a new gay day makes you kind of tired of gay shenanigans. Does that make sense? I think we should just go full gay for one day. Just like we do Cinco de Mayo, we go full Mexican for the day. We go full Irish for the St. Patrick's Day. Let's just have a gay day. We all just go full gay for a day, and then we're done. What do you think about that plan?
I was confused as to why I was walking in my town 3 weeks ago, and it was the Pride Parade, and I was like, I thought y'all motherfuckers had June.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, I thought
so. Why is it
confused
right
me.
now? And so I had to walk through it to go do my business. I had to park way across the street, walk through this mess. And this lady already tries to stop. Of course, I had my I had my MAGA claw cup, and I was walking through, and I'm walking, and she's like, hi. And she wanted to talk to me about a bill. I'm like, I don't want to talk to you. I continue to walk because I was like, I don't understand why we're doing this. Like, so because you are gay, lesbian, trans, because of all of your sexual things that you like to do, we have to have, I feel like it's every week. Like, I just want people to leave me the fuck alone. Like, it's every single week.
I heard that and again, our fact checker's not here to help me with this, but they are now going to add a black gay or persons of color gay day for persons of color gays. Literally, and I heard this was like the UK was going to make it official, and it might be having to do with that second triangle, but I might be mistaken. Again, I didn't look into it all that much. I wasn't planning on talking about it today, but yeah, I mean, it's just like it's getting a little ridiculous, almost as ridiculous as Lizzo declaring that she quits. And it's not that she declares that she quits. It's the way that she declares this. By the way, our next story coming up after this is the RFK Jr. saying that Biden is the biggest threat to democracy. So coming right after this are kind of our two biggest stories. It's this Biden fundraiser that was an absolute disaster where Bill Clinton, President Obama, Biden, Lizzo, and Jimmy Fallon, several other celebrities attended an event that has literally wreaked havoc on their own personal fame. And Lizzo lashed out, declaring that she quits. And it was just a terrible week. And then it's all compiled by RFK Jr. on CNN, explaining why Biden is the biggest threat. They couldn't interrupt him fast enough. This is why they wouldn't put him on CNN for the last 3 years. And he had to go to a Supreme Court. And we're going to get into all of that. But this is just what a horrific week for the Biden campaign when it comes to publicity and promotion. It just, they raised a lot of money, but was it worth it? We're going to chat about it. But first, today's show is brought to you by ghostbed.com/wolfpack. Sleep so good, it's scary. I always say that mental wellness and mental health starts with a good night's sleep. That's why we're proud to sponsor and be partnered with, or sponsored by and partnered with Ghostbed. You can use promo code ANT. ANT is also an affiliate of Ghostbed. We both have promo codes, Wolfpack or ANT. Right now, 50% off to everybody that is connected with the Wolfpack using the promo code Wolfpack. We're talking your adjustable base. This is a site-wide deal. The pillows, the cooling sheets, the adjustable base. They have been with us for the last 4 years. I've never met a company who supports veterans and first responders more than Ghostbed. Ant and I have personally laid on many ghost beds. Some of them we've laid on together in the showroom. They put us both on the same bed to show us its massage capabilities. Maybe Ant wanted to have his legs raised and his back raised, and I wanted to lay flat. And they were showing us how the difference in the adjustable base.
So who's missionary in this situation?
Like maybe Ant is a lazy bottom, and so they have a lazy bottom adjustable thing that makes them not so lazy. But anyway, we did lay on these
I
ghost
turned
beds.
red, actually.
What's that? My wife is like, you guys
I'm
are such
sorry.
idiots. Anyway, we had a great time with the ghost bed folks. We were extremely inappropriate the entire time. I'm not sure how their media guy was handling it. The owner of Ghost Bed laughed at every joke we said. The social media guy that followed us around, maybe not so much. I think he was like, are you good with this? Are you good with this, owner of Ghost Bed? Like, they are being pretty audacious, but we had a good time. We made it worth it. And they sent us home with some Ghost Bed pillows, which you can never have enough of. The Ghost Bed pillow is one of my favorite things on earth. I travel with it. I have a travel case for my Ghost Bed pillow. The adjustable base is incredible. Every type of bed that you can possibly think of, Ghost Bed has, and their beds made in the good old USA. 0% down, 0% financing, and that's if you have Lizzo credit. So head over to ghostbed.com/wolfpack to get you sleep so good. It's scary. Also, you see how lean and mean Ant and I look. That's because, we've been eating healthier as well as exercising and doing other dietary plans and things like that. One of the big dietary things is food and eating correctly. Factormeals.com/Wolfpack50 meal planning to the next level. I'm talking about fresh, never frozen meals delivered right to your door that you have made your own plan for. If you want vegan, vegetarian, you want calorie conscious, you want protein heavy to get jacked, you want breakfast shakes, smoothies, you can go on factormeals.com right now, organize a meal plan for the week that suits you. And when you add up the cost of groceries and gas and the time and the Pytex dishes and the Pyrex dishes and the cooking in your oven and separating all of your meal planning things for the week, it is a wash. It comes out to be about the same as if you just jumped on factormeals.com/Wolfpack50. Yes, we have Wellness Company. That's our last sponsor of the day. And we're going to jump into these big stories. Wellness company. So whether listen, it's getting close. The eclipse getting close. These are pre-planning your wellness. If you're taking a trip, they can get you your malaria pills. They can get you all the things for your trip. If you're pandemic planning and prepping, they can get you your ivermectins, your Z-Packs, your monoclonal antibodies, whatever it is that you need to prep for. They can pre-prescribe you these. These are from Dr. McCullough, Dr. What's the other doctor on there? Dr. Drew. All the other doctors, by the way, I got to call them today and kind of get that set up. We're supposed to have one of those guys on here to help us break down this stuff. But it's kind of like they came up with this for the next pandemic, for pandemic planning. So make sure you head over to the wellness company, use the promo code Wolfpack, get you 10% off. Start prepping now. Okay, let's dive into this. What does it say?
Oh, this is for Will.
Oh, that's for Will Cry. All right, here we go. Let's get over to this Lizzo shit. Here we go. Lizzo declares that I quit in cryptic social media messages from E! Entertainment News. Grammy winner also said she's starting to feel like the world doesn't want her in it. Let me read you the quote. This is what she tweeted. I'm getting tired of putting up with being dragged by everyone in my life and on the internet. All I want is to make music and make people happy and help the world be a little better than how I found it. But I'm starting to feel like the world doesn't want me in it. I'm constantly up against lies being told about me for clout and views, being the butt of the joke every single time because of how I look, my character being picked apart by people who don't even know me, and disrespecting my name. I didn't sign up for this shit. I quit. Peace. Peace with a peace sign.
Oh, can I say something?
Please do.
Shut the fuck up.
Oh.
You posted that because you wanted a fucking reaction. And guess what? She got it. But this whole the world doesn't want me in it. And I'm so, I'm so beat up, and you're not beat up when you're cashing those checks at all. God, that pisses me off.
Beat that up.
Oh no, thank you.
Beat
not
that
even with
up.
you.
Now, here's the thing, though. She just had these allegations about fat shaming her own staff, about having a hostile work environment. Those allegations, some dealing with a banana and some other really creepy, nasty things. I suggest you go and look up those allegations. They are pretty yikes, if you ask me. Definitely seems like a hostile environment, even if maybe 20% of those things are true. It sounds pretty awful. But that doesn't even bother me. Here's what bothers me. You parade your fatness around and rub it in everybody's face as if you're bragging. Like, look how fat I am. Look at me. It's like that dude with the jack abs that always has to take his shirt off when it's not even relevant to take your shirt off. Hey, I'm at the bar. We're all having a good time. Let me be extremely inappropriate and shred my shirt in front of everybody. Like, great job, dude. You lost some weight. You got some abs. Put your fucking shirt on. Like, this isn't the time or the place. We would be giving it to the strong jack dude doing that, as we would the fat girl that's probably wearing the pants that she's actually having to stuff her fatness into. You know what I'm saying? Like, there are some women who fit into their leggings, or the leggings fit them. And then there are other women that have to literally stuff themselves into their leggings. They have to fit into their leggings, and those shouldn't maybe wear those. Lizzo parades her fatness around in such a provocative manner that it would be unreasonable not to go, ooh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ooh. I have a beautiful penis. My wife says so. She says, quote, you have a very cute and pretty penis.
Oh,
Perfectly circumcised. Perfectly circumcised. Well groomed. And it's just a very pretty penis. Now, if I paraded my pretty penis around in a leotard to where you could see all of the things bulging on both sides, you would then say, ooh, gross, would you not? It's not that I have a gross penis or that I'm a gross person. It's just in the way that my penis is shown is gross. The way that you show your fatness can be gross. It doesn't mean you are gross because you're overweight or fat. It's how you present that fatness. I would say ooh to a hooker that was skinny and had one of those stringy things going up and her lips were kind of dangling out into the wind. You'd kind of be like, ooh, You know what I'm saying? So for Lizzo to be saying that people don't like her because of the way she looks, it's not that it's the way you look, Lizzo. It's how you present your looks. It's not because what she's saying is people don't like her because she's fat. That's not true. It's how you wear your fatness that nobody likes. And I'm saying that as a former fat person.
I'm sorry. The reaction I get about my penis is damn, not it's cute. So we already know where we stand on that. I think that this country is trying to normalize obesity. And not only women, I think a lot of men have insecurities with their bodies as well. I know I did, and now I am the healthiest I've been since I was in my 20s. I feel great. All the things. I think it's absolutely disgusting that we are choosing people, or that we have people like Lizzo being the pillar of, what young women should look up to. I think it's disgusting. It's thank God that she's gone, because I don't want my nieces looking up to that. She's a scumbag. That's all I got to say about that. But yes, my response usually with mine is, damn.
Oh, really? I mean, I've asked her, I said, do I have a big unit?
No, yours is cute.
She says, no, it's a cute penis. It's very pretty. You have a pretty penis. That's good, right? Like that means it's big, right?
That's code.
Right,
That's code.
That's code for I'm married with you. We have children like rabbits, and it's cute.
We know it works. We know it works.
It's like walking up to a house and it's like very small, but it's got a white picket fence and the bushes are done right and it's manicured. And you're like, that's cute. Your house
cute
is
house.
cute.
That is a great analogy, Ant.
Yeah. I wear my small house.
But when you walk up to this mansion, you're like, God dang.
Damn. Who lives there?
Oh shit!
Somebody's got a dead rose bush on the side of the house. My God, dang,
he could park an RV in that garage. I will say though, I have been naked in front of thousands of men. Nobody's accused it of being small, but nobody's ever said like Tansy's got a big unit. So I'm guessing maybe I'm somewhere around average. If I had to tell you what my
that's okay. It'll be okay. 5.
C's make it in this world. It's not a D or an F. It's not an A or B. It's a C minus. C plus. We'll give it a C plus.
Anything more than a C plus, you're showing off.
I'm no Kevin Costner, as Ross Patterson would say. I'm no Kevin Costner. All right, so Lizzo, whatever, and for me, it's like she says, I didn't sign up for this shit. You decided to go to one of the biggest disasters of a fundraiser you could possibly think. Now, this fundraiser, and this is how I'd have touched the Democrat Party, is while Trump's throwing fundraisers where the ticket sales are minimal and affordable, the Biden administration is having these lavish, celebrity-laden events, thousands of dollars a ticket. They're hiring third-party outsourced ticket providers to verify and kind of make sure that whoever's coming to this party is legit and that they're not going to cause a scene. And even with all of this, look, they blocked the streets for blocks. Well, it created a hellacious traffic jam in New York City, which made New Yorkers already upset. They're already upset with the Biden administration for all the things that are going on, and with all the crime and all this crazy stuff. And now you're causing just an insane amount of traffic in the area. That's pissing them off. And they put these gates thousands of meters out from the event so that the event could not be interrupted by protesters. Even with all of that, they couldn't throw this thing off without being interrupted 6 times in the midst of this. So much so that Obama had a little meltdown with one of the protesters. Pierre-Luc Picard had a little of a meltdown as well. It didn't bode well. It didn't look good. And, if you were having one of these events and maybe it was a bunch of Trump protesters, you could argue that, it was obnoxious Trump. But this is what makes it so much of a disaster. It was their own kind. It was left liberals protesting against genocide in Palestine, which is now actually becoming more truth than anything. And some of these protesters, man, now I don't think I'd let myself on fire in front of a gate to prove it, but I mean, it is getting a little out of hand. We're also sending 20,000 more bunker busters. So again, we don't have our fact checker here to get me the facts on that, but we just signed a new bill to send bunker busting rockets back over to Israel to help out with this thing. It's like, when is enough? Let's get some ground troops in there. And if you're gonna conquer and take it over, I've got no problem with that. I don't think the Palestinians are good for any nation, and I don't think they're any good for any people. It's a very hard ruling. The Palestinians are a very totalitarian style, kind of terroristy ran organization. I'm not for it. I don't think women should have to live like that. I don't think gays should have to live like that. And I don't think that they should live their whole life to want to exterminate Jews either. So I got no problem with you conquering them, but I do kind of have a problem with you killing every last one of them. And at least you have got to show us some kind of non-propaganda based news information that shows that you're not doing this. Instead, what you're doing is you're showing obvious, insincere propaganda that everybody is seeing through and reposting on on X and Twitter, X and TikTok. And then at the same time, you're trying to punish X and TikTok, which makes you look even more suspicious and like you're even more trying to cover up a genocide. So they have this big giant thing out there, and it's erupted 6 separate times by the left. So the left is literally eating the left. It couldn't go worse for Biden. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
I think the timing of it, obviously this fundraiser was planned. It was a big hoopla. And I know we were going to get into it as well, but I think the timing was a huge thing to where the media hit of when they had this fundraiser versus that officer's funeral, for one.
It looks terrible, right? The optics they look really bad when you have Trump going to a funeral where they asked leftist government officials not to attend the funeral. And he stands there and gives a very nice speech. It's all about the officer. And he really was a publicity win for Trump in this. And then you look at the same picture, right? If we were to cut both of the pictures of what happened this weekend and put them together, that's how you see Trump. And then how you see Biden is this Lizzo fiasco. She's getting ripped apart for supporting Biden, being that Biden is supporting this genocide, if you want to go that route. You have these massive protesters, plus you have the angry New Yorkers and the traffic jam. 2 totally different pictures that do not bode well for Biden.
Well, you've got the left that are they're getting tired of this horse shit. They're getting tired of it. And they're seeing that there is potential light at the end of the tunnel come November with Trump. You're having a lot of Democrats that are starting to lean more toward the middle or the right because of what they've seen that their president has done for the last 3.5 years. So this was a perfect opportunity for them to be able to voice and do their protests outside. They knew he was going to be there. They knew Obama was going to be there. They knew Clinton was going to be there. What better place to make that whole party look stupid than right there?
And Biden, Obama is not a stupid human being. And I don't think he's used to having such negative publicity about him. I don't know why he would surround himself now with Bill Clinton, with all the allegations of the Clintons coming out, and just a worldwide hatred for the Clinton family. I mean, it's really hard to find anybody that doesn't have a mental illness, like overt mental illness. You can't find anybody that supports Hillary Clinton anymore or Bill Clinton, with all the stuff that's come out about them, and especially Bill. And then he also surrounds himself with somebody like Biden, who's, the most unpopular president ever, as conservative Ant put it. And then you also are going to parade yourself around with Lizzo. Is that the best you've got, is Lizzo and Jimmy Fallon? What kind of people were at Trump's house when you were there at Trump's party? When you went to there a couple of weeks ago, what kind of people were milling around Trump's big fundraising parties?
Very respectable people that were actually business owners, people that were lawyers and doctors, and whether they were successful in the entertainment industry and got booted because of their conservative values and their political stance. That's the thing, is like, you look at the Clintons. Joe Biden wants to surround himself, because they say you are who you hang around with, right?
Right.
So Hillary Clinton and the Clintons, and by the way, I'm not suicidal, so if I end up disappearing, you guys know why. So he was a womanizer. I mean, he literally took advantage of female staffers, and then his wife tried to, and successfully, destroy these women's lives. So these are the most anti-women people on the planet, and Joe Biden is surrounding himself with them. Again, not only the most unpopular president, the worst human being. 94 crime bill. I don't want my kids growing up in a racial jungle, or in a what do you say, a racial jungle. If you don't vote for me, you ain't black. I don't support gay marriage. These are things that Joe Biden said. I'm just saying the things that he has said. He is the most racist, homophobic, disgusting human being on the face of the planet. And he's running a country where now we have Chinese planes that have been seen around Taiwan today. We have wars going on in the Middle East. We have people that are struggling to even put food on the table. This can't be the guy. This won't be the guy. Trump 2024.
And that's kind of what our last story is all about too. RFK Jr., has been silenced from day one. CNN refused to have him. YouTube took him down, removed him. Instagram removed him because of his stance on vaccines and vaccine awareness, which have now become conspiracy fact. He wasn't lying. He was not. It wasn't in misinformation, and the Supreme Court ruled in his favor. So now he is getting his chance in the final hour to be on CNN. He was refused to debate. The DNC refused to acknowledge him. He switched over to independent. The left lost their minds. They've been going after RFK, trying to dismantle him. They're trying to come after his character and all these other things, as they normally do, right? Nothing new. But they really kind of didn't give him a platform. Now he finally gets this platform. He goes on CNN and delivers what the left is saying is maybe the nail in the casket for Biden. This is really going to hurt them. It really showed in the polls. If you're familiar with Tim Pool, he read off the list of polls and how the polls changed with RFK Jr. And if you took away the RFK Jr. numbers, how much closer the polls get with RFK Jr., it almost makes it impossible for Biden to win, according to the polls. Now, the polls have been wrong, before.
Especially because RFK just came out and said the biggest threat to our country is Joe Biden. Yeah,
let me play this for you guys. This is what the left is calling. Now, this is coming from leftist podcasters, from leftist news sources, that this is terrible for the Biden campaign. Let me go ahead and share this with you guys. And I think you guys, in the chat guys out there, hit yes if you can hear it right away. No if you can't right away. That way I'm not wasting anybody's time on this. Let me get over here and hit play here.
Biden is a much worse threat to democracy. And the reason for that is President Biden is the first candidate in history, the first president in history that has used the federal agencies to censor political speech, so to censor his opponent. I can say that because I just won a case in the federal court of appeals.
Okay, they're saying in the chats that they cannot hear. Can you guys not hear? Oh, it's just very quiet. You can hear. Let me play it one more time. I turned it up a little bit. Is that better? Yes or no?
No.
It shows that he started censoring not just me for 37 hours.
It's okay. I can't handle his voice anyway.
The president of the country has ever have the greatest threat. Democracy is not somebody who questions election returns, but a president of the United States will use the power of his office to force the social media companies, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, to open a portal and give access to that portal to the FBI, to the CIA.
So a lot of people in the chat saying that they can't hear it. I apologize. I do not have, again, Ted Legg here with us, which, shows you again how important he is to sustainability of this network. What he's saying is that the reason why he believes Biden is the biggest threat to democracy, asked by a CNN host here, what do you think that Trump is the biggest threat to democracy? And he says, I think the biggest threat to democracy is Joe Biden. And he said he's the first president in history to silence all of his political opponents, all of them. Anybody that was trying to run against him, he had them silenced. He went after them financially. He weaponized the Department of Justice to criminalize them. He had them removed. The FBI, the IRS, he weaponized the FBI, the IRS, and the CIA. And they have proof of this. And he was able to produce those documents in a Supreme Court filing, which he won, to show that within 3 weeks of RFK Jr. Announcing that he was running, that he was immediately silenced on all platforms, removed from YouTube. He was removed from Instagram. He was removed from Facebook, and he had to try his case. And for 2 years, he was silenced completely. And in the witching hour, in the final moments, he is allowed to now be on shows like CNN, and they're giving him a platform. And of course, Fox News was never going to put him on because he's a Democrat running against the Republicans. So RFK Jr. has really had a bad go at this. Meanwhile, they were able to just bury him in the dirt. They were able to go on YouTube, they were being on Instagram and say everything that they wanted to about RFK Jr. And he has no public platform to kind of debate these allegations against them or to refute them or whatever. So RFK Jr. has really had a hard time in this. And now he's coming out and he's speaking. He's also, I thought, was really brilliant that he mentioned that the Secret Service, for the first time in the history, that a political candidate that met the threshold of votes was denied Secret Service protection, and he met that goal. He had higher poll ratings than even Biden in some polls. As far as like trending points and things like that. And yet, his fundraising and his public events are massive. And so, and they're much bigger than Biden's have been. Of course, Biden's events have been minimal at best. But, what is you guys' thoughts on this as we close out the show tonight? Big blow for the Biden campaign.
Yeah, I don't trust RFK as far as I can throw him, but I will say it does read trouble. I mean, everyone's we're finding out that everything that we've been saying for the last 4 years since Joe Biden has been president has been true. We've all, as content creators, Tim Pool talked about this before. At what point in time, when do we get to the point in time when now social media and podcaster people start getting the FBI showing up to their house? It's already happening. FBI agents are showing up at our houses because we just simply say fuck Joe Biden. So it's a totalitarian government. You can only be for Joe Biden. If you are not Joe Biden, you are the enemy of the state. I don't give a fuck. I will be the enemy of the state all fucking day. That makes me hate him even more.
Yeah, very Trudeau-like. It's almost like Trudeau and Biden are kind of tit for tat in these very odd, weird silencing of your political adversaries. Now, Biden hasn't frozen our assets yet, but I feel like it's coming. Any last thoughts on that, Keith?
Operative word is yet, but I completely agree with Ant in the fact that if you're not Joe Biden, you're not on the bus and you're screwed. What scares me about RFK is the way it appears is he is our modern day Ross Perot, going to be pulling votes, and that scares the shit out of me.
But he's pulling votes on both sides. I mean, there's people in the chat that say that, that they, guys that had voted for Trump in the past might be switching over. My dad is one of those. He's not voting for Trump. He didn't vote for Trump the first time, but he's now voting for RFK Jr. on this go around. But, I think he's more so pulling from the Democrats because, I don't know that, my dad was not going to vote for Trump. He would have voted for any Democrat, but he can't vote for Biden. You know what I'm saying? And I think there's a lot of Democrats out there that are like, yeah, I can't vote for Biden, and they're going to vote for RFK Jr. I think Trump has its base. I also think that if you look into RFK, if you're fully conservative, Trump has the best of both worlds in this. He's anti-ish mandating of the vaccine. We never got to see that really come to fruition, even though that he was a big proponent of it and he was making money from it. It didn't appear that he was going to force it on anyone. And so you kind of have that going for him, but he also is, Trump is more pro-gun, which is really big for the conservatives, that whole 2A thing. And so I think that anybody that's doing their research is knowing that they're going to get the best of both worlds with Trump, if that's what they're voting on. But I don't think a lot of conservatives are going to look past RFK Jr.'s very staunch anti-gun policies and outlook on things that he would want to enforce here in this country.
The fact that he hit the threshold for Secret Service detail of any person that needed it, it's him.
Oh, yeah.
Let's look at history. It's not a good look for the government when he hits all of those, like you said, the benchmarks, and they're like, no, we're just not going to do it.
Right. As if they really don't want the Kennedys in power at all. They have a track history of making them disappear off the planet. So if anybody does need it, it is him. What just a fun-filled week going to be with stuff. I hope you guys. I think we'll probably do one more coverage of this solar eclipse. Maybe we'll do a solar eclipse party on here on the 8th and see how that goes. You're kind of like almost Y2K, celebrating the end of the world as we know it together. And listen, let me put out the date real quick of this meetup. If anybody can come, this just came across my phone about 15 minutes before the show started. Let's see. This is I got to find the right text thread. I think this was on text message, not social media. It looks like it's going to be May 2nd, which is a Thursday. And it's going to be at Mulligan's Pub, Mulligan's Irish Pub, which is located, I want to say that's in Kissimmee. It's about 20 to 30 minutes from the Orlando airport. It's on 39 Blake Boulevard in Celebration, Florida. But it is a big police week down there in Orlando. They're having the police training seminars down there. And there's going to be a lot of high-profile law enforcement officers down there. And they invited us to do a live show. And so we're going to get whoever we can. There's going to be, I think they're going to cap it at 200. I'm going to get all the facts. I'm just getting this over the phone this morning. This was something that was brought to me at 4:30 in the afternoon yesterday, coming to come to fruition this morning. I think it's capping at 200, if I'm not mistaken, at the bar. Might be 100. I was kind of confused on the numbers. I think the bar can hold 200, but they want to cap it to 100. Or I don't know. We're going to get that settled. It will be free. I'll tell you that much. I don't think there's going to be a cover for it unless the bar makes us have a cover for it. But it's going to be just, there's already going to be first responders from all around the country there in Celebration, Florida. So we're going to do that and have that going on May 2nd, which is a Thursday. So if you're going to be in the Orlando area already for that big police convention, put Mulligan's on the docket for that Thursday night. And we'll see who we can get out there. Also, sometime in May, we're trying to lock something down with Conservative Ant in his neck of the woods in Naples. And then it looks like the last week of April, there's going to be a meetup in Virginia with Jonathan Emord and their crew. I have that meeting at 4:00 this afternoon to solidify that. So Virginia and Florida, in the next 2 months, take a look at your calendars and see what you can make and what you can't make. For myself, Conservative Anthony, which you can follow at Conservative Ant on all social media platforms, at One More and I'm Out of Here, One More and I'm Out of Here podcast, Jason Kiefer, myself, Eric Tanzi, and the Failure to Stop podcast channel and C- Media Network. Guns up, giddy up.